This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
I find myself in unfamiliar territory as a Vikings fan that leaves me feeling both excited yet scared at the same time, as this video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. Because in the 24 years that I've been a fan of this team, the vast majority of those years was spent with whatever success that this franchise has been in spite of mediocre to subpar quarterback play. You had the Culpepper years with Randy Moss, but once Moss got traded, Culpepper was a shell of himself, even before the injury, when you had to rely on Nate Burleson and company. You had the 1 year, 2015, that you thought that you were onto something with Teddy Bridgewater. Blair Walsh goes wide left. The following offseason, Teddy Bridgewater blows up his knee, was never the same guy. Kirk Cousins, failed experiment, caught a tight butt on 4th and 8. That if you do get to the playoffs, you're 1 and done or 2 and done. That's it. You had 2 blip years where you thought you had a legitimate shot. Both that surprised the hell out of us in Vikings Nation, 2009 and 2017. But that's it. The vast majority of that time is, oh, okay, just do what you can despite what you don't have at the quarterback position. But something's different now. Because now comes along this guy, JJ McCarthy, who, when they drafted him, I was very vocal on this channel about the fact that, yeah, I have my doubts about this guy. But the reason why I'm down for this draft pick is because I know this is KOC's pick. He, along with Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, they've done their homework. They've done their film study. They've said, this is our guy. We believe in moving on from Kirk Cousins, the safe pick that's going to get you nowhere. We believe in moving on from that for this guy. And for me, that was good enough. But he was supposed to struggle. This was supposed to be a redshirt year. This was supposed to be where he arrives in minicamp and training camp, and all the hype that's been associated with him is going to quickly disappear. And dare I say, we have to now talk Vikings Nation off of a ledge and say he's going to struggle. It's going to be fine. 2025, we're going to see him. This year, not at all. He's going to be the QB3 behind Sam Darnold and Nick Mullins. It hasn't been anywhere close to that. He's not the QB3. He's the QB2. And he's been amazing in minicamp, in training camp. He looks great. And it's not like he's just dashing up the second and third team defenses. Cool. He's also making big plays against the first team defense. And I gotta say, man, the hype that keeps growing and growing, it seems like it's not going to die at all. It's only going to inflate further to where, does the balloon pop, or is it just resistant no matter how much air you put into that hype balloon? This is not the feeling that I'm getting with the fact that this is not a microwavable quarterback for this team like in 2009. You got one superstar year from Brett Favre. 2010 just never happened. 2017, Case Keenum. In both of those scenarios, you knew this wasn't going to be for the long term. This was your chance to strike while the iron is hot. And if you don't, you know you're going to have to start over from square one. This isn't like any of those two situations, because if the play and production of McCarthy matches, or dare I say exceeds, the hype associated with this guy, you're talking about having a young quarterback, team control over for at least the next 5 years. You pay him whatever he wants after. And If nothing else, you have consistency, long-term consistency for the first time in 24 years that I've been following this team, consistency at the quarterback position. Even if you never reach that goal ultimately of hoisting the first ever Lombardi trophy in franchise history, I will take the frustration of what it must be like being a Buffalo Bills fan right now, where, hey, you can't get over that hump, but you're always making deep postseason runs with a superstar quarterback in Josh Allen. I'll take that. Now, if the play doesn't meet that hype at all, if it turns to be a monumental disaster, then you know what? If this is as good as it gets, I'll still take that. Everyone outside looking in, those that aren't Vikings fans, let us have this moment right now. It reminds me when I was a kid. I grew up without cable at all. And whenever I go to school and the friends and buddies would be like, hey, did you see last night's episode of All That? And I would sit there and lie because I was embarrassed for not having cable. Did you see last night's episode of All That? And I'd be like, oh yeah, that was crazy, right? And then finally, when I started cutting grass around the neighborhood, making some money, I said, all right, I'll pay for cable for the house. And the first time that I was able to watch shows like Rocko's Modern Life, Rocket Power, The Wild Thornberrys, blew me away. That moment, that natural high was insane. And I think that's what I'm starting to feel right now every single time that JJ McCarthy has a practice. Where in at least two of his training camp practices, he's thrown for at least 4 touchdowns in the red zone drills. What? This is not how it was supposed to go down, where McCarthy's the QB2, and with Sam Darnold's inconsistencies in practice, which not only does a quarterback battle currently exist, but with each practice that goes by, the gap shortens between the two players. The excitement that I'm feeling right now, that I'm sure a significant portion of other Vikings fans feel the same way, and it's okay if you feel scared at the same time. I certainly do. But this excitement that we're feeling right now, embrace it. Just let it happen. And if anybody deserves this happiness, it's us. Are you kidding me? All the hell that we've been through as fans? Nah, man. You can't tell me nothing. It's our time now. Let's go. Introducing a new segment where I'm going to give, and I'm going to name it later. I don't have a name right now. Maybe you guys have suggestions for it, name ideas. Put it in the comments section below. But bets that I like each particular week, and it's brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. Sign up now. I'll put the link in the description box. Sign up now because BetUS is offering a 125% deposit match on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. We're going to start this segment off, because the season hasn't started yet. So for now, I'm going to give my season overview bets for your Minnesota Vikings, starting with Aaron Jones over 750.5 rushing yards. Alexander Mattison last year got 700 rushing yards on his own. You upgraded like crazy at that position, and I think the Vikings are going to be even more committed to the run to help out Sam Darnold / JJ McCarthy. They're going to be more committed to the run this year compared to last year. Aaron Jones last season, 656 rushing yards, but only played in 11 games. Stay healthy and you'll be set. Justin Jefferson, over 7.5 touchdowns. Last year, despite missing 7 games, still caught 5 touchdowns. The previous 2 seasons before that, when he was fully healthy, played and started in every single game, averaged 9 touchdowns a season. Stay healthy, and I like this bet a lot. And lastly, Vikings over 7.5 wins. This team, regardless of whether it's Sam Darnold, JJ McCarthy, this team has too much talent, and especially on the offensive side of the ball, and even defensively, while they're lacking in areas, corner, interior defensive line, led by Brian Flores. Historically speaking, this team is always what we say stuck in the middle, where they win too many games and they don't get that high enough draft pick. This team, I think, players and coaching wise, is too talented to go under 7.5 wins. So those are my 3 bets that I like for the season. Aaron Jones over 750.5 rushing yards. Justin Jefferson over 7.5 touchdowns. Vikings as a team over 7.5 wins. Again, this video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. Please gamble responsibly.